Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. This is at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's important for us to figure out what we need to be focusing in on. How can I assist you to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be successful? So, welcome in. Welcome in. This is Veronica, and this is absolutely at the end of my day, as you can probably tell. Kind of looks like I've had a day, but it's been a good day. It's just been a day. And so it's almost tomorrow. I said to myself, what are the types of things that I would think I would want to know at the end of my day? Are there things that I can do to make your lives a little bit better? And I wanted to focus in on something, I won't call it new, but what I will call it is this is my favorite tool. This is my favorite project management tool. It has been around for a really long time, but not everybody uses it. Not everyone is focusing on it. So I wanted to give you all the opportunity to learn a little bit more about it and see if this is something that you want to add into your toolbox. This tool is called the work breakdown structure. Feel free to type into the chat if you've ever heard of it or if it's something that you actually use. But we are going to be talking about the work breakdown structure today. Given this is something that has been around for quite some time, I am going to tell you how I use it. Now, not everyone uses it in the exact same way, but I wanted to provide you with what is possible. So if there are changes that you want to make to how you use yours, I want to give you the opportunity to be able to do that. So that being said, let's dive on in. We are going to focus in on what the work breakdown structure is, what it isn't. I am going to show you how to create one and one of the easiest ways that you would be able to create one. And then why should we keep it updated? So a lot of the documents that we have a tendency to use are almost one and done type of documents. So I set it up in the beginning of our project life cycle, and I almost don't even touch it again until I'm putting it into the project repository where you're housing all of your project documents. This document isn't like that. This is actually something that you want to continually keep updated, and you also want to make sure that your teams know how to use it. So, what is the purpose of a work breakdown structure? What is it? So, as you start to work on your projects, especially if you are working on a larger project, possibly using cross functional teams, and although you are the project manager, there is this notion that you're all knowing and omnipresent. And as project managers, you already know that you're not actually all knowing and omnipresent. So we have to glean insights from our subject matter experts. We are their muse, we are the maestro to the orchestra. As such, we have to get in contact with them, ask them questions, find out what has to get done so that our project meets the needs of the business, of the user, of whomever is going to be receiving this output. So, what we can use the work breakdown structure for is to actually break down all of the work that has to get done. If we have customer care, what are all the things that you have to do? What are the dependencies? So we are going to focus in on all of the different tasks that have to get done. We're going to break those down. And then everyone else is going to know, well, I have to finish this first. I have to work on this next. So there's an order of operations. So we can use the work breakdown structure to outline what this order of operations is. What we can also do is we can figure out, well, are there things that we can do to assist us in managing our projects? What does that management look like? And so our work breakdown structure can outline what that management cycle is. And there are different types of work breakdown structures. We are going to talk about them, but there are different types. So, depending upon how large your team happens to be, depending upon the type of work that has to be done on your team, you can use your work breakdown structure in a different way. So, what could this look like? Well, our work breakdown structure could just look like an org chart. Have you ever had your work breakdown structure just look like an org chart? Because it could. And if it just looks like an org chart, are there different changes that we need to make to it? Are there adjustments that have to happen? And if so, I'm going to move me over. We could use a phased based work breakdown structure. So, with our phased based work breakdown structure, what we could do is say, well, are we working on a waterfall or traditional or phased approach project? If we are, then we can say, well, what are all other tasks that have to get done in the initiation stage? And then list all of those out. What are all of the tasks that have to get done in the planning stage? Then we can list all of those out. What about execution? Let's list those. Monitoring and controlling, let's list those. Implementation, what are those? And then what are the things that have to get done when we're closing out our project? Now, as you're working with your project team, you collectively can figure out what these tasks need to be. It's not something that is already assigned. You have subject matter experts for a reason. Lean into the excellence of your subject matter experts and find out what tasks are needed. Now, are there some that are customary? Absolutely. So, in your initiation stage, that's where your business case lives. Depending upon the type of organization that you work in, you're probably not going to be a part of that business case part of things. You are a part of the output of it. So the output is a project charter. Your project charter is the initiation document that outlines that you are the project manager. It also shares who your executive sponsor is, what are your goals and objectives on this project, what's in scope, what's out of scope, what do they think of as constraints. That could be time, could be cost, could be the use of your resources, risk, customer satisfaction, to name a few. But whatever parameters you have to live within, that's what you want to outline under constraints. Who should be a part of your project team? Sometimes in the project charter, it'll list out who those people are. Other times, you actually have to do some research and find out who should be a part, right? So that will be a part of another lesson. But this one, we just want to know that there are things that take place in initiation, and we want to be able to outline what those things are. We also have planning. Planning takes about 40% of our time. So we definitely want to make sure that we're using that time wisely. And it just so happens that the work breakdown structure is a part of that planning stage. But we can list out all of the different items, but we're still going to be working with our project team to find out what works best for us. What do we need on this project? And we can outline what all of these tasks are. So that's the phase-based work breakdown structure. We also have one that is a deliverable based. So that's usually tied to what are our tasks, right? So what if our team has come together and maybe we're a part of a cross-functional team, maybe we're not, but we've outlined what all of our tasks are. So we might have said we need to work through our requirements. What are those? We could say that we need to work on training. So that might be task two. We might also need to work through what does our fingerprinting process look like. So then we are going to say this is our task one, and then what lives underneath it. That's our task 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Then we might ask our teams, all right, team, what are the things that have to take place under task 1.1? And then we list all of these out. So we can think of our work breakdown structure as a pictorial view of our project plan. It's going to list out the order of operations It's going to share what the dependencies are. And it's also going to, if we want it to, outline who should be doing what. So let's say that we have chosen to not only list out what has to happen, but we're going to talk about ownership now. So we might say, okay, so who's going to own task 1.1? Who is responsible for this? Maybe it's Barbara. Barbara, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, how long do you think this is going to take you? Now, we don't always ask. I always recommend asking because odds are this project is not going to be the only project that your team is going to be working on. There's probably going to be other initiatives that they have. That being said, I don't want to be a part of their stress during the day, right? I'm going to be working with these people for quite some time, and probably I am going to be working with them on other initiatives too. So I want to make sure that they have the capacity to do the work. So I might ask them a few questions. All right, Barbara, if the world was a beautiful place, how long should this take you? If everything in your life goes wrong, how long should this take you? How long will this probably take you? She may not know all of the project management terms. So I am not going to speak to her in project management terms. I want to make sure that I'm having a conversation. I'm learning the people that are a part of my project team, and my work breakdown structure gives me the vehicle to be able to do that. Now, in project management terms, what I'm outlining is what is your time optimistic, what is your time pessimistic, and what is your time most likely, right? And I'm going to ask everyone, I'm going to ask the owners of task 1.2 those three questions, 1.3 those three questions, task 2, task 3, however many tasks we have, I'm going to find out who the owners need to be, and I'm going to figure out how long it should take for us to do it. So you might be asking yourself, Veronica, why are you asking this? Why should we care? This is why we should care. Because now we have three baselines. We have our optimistic baseline, meaning, oh my goodness, we did fantastic on this. Our work has been done much faster than we thought that it would have been done. And I might be able to reward my team because of their efforts. I might also say, oh my goodness, there's corrective actions that we need to take. This is taking considerably longer than we thought that it should take. Are there adjustments that we need to make? Or we could say, wow, we are right on par. We thought it was going to take this long, and it's actually taking this long. So we can outline what everything is in the beginning while we're having these conversations with our team members. So this would be what we would call deliverable based. But there is a third, and the third is responsibility based, right? Maybe I'm saying, well, customer care, what all the things that you guys have to do to make sure that all this work is done. So we list all those things out. Maybe it's another department. For this example, I've said collections or human resources or legal or compliance or credit. What are the things that have to happen so that all the work that needs to get done actually gets done? And we're going to list that out based upon the responsibilities of that area. Here's the quiet part loud. Guess what I'm not doing? I'm not going to all these meetings. Nope, I am not. I am teaching them exactly how to use this work breakdown structure. I'm making sure that they understand what the work breakdown structure looks like. And I am making sure that they have me if they need me. I am opening that door. I'm making sure that they know what has to happen. But because we've listed all of these things out, they don't have to ask you as many questions. As a reminder, as a project manager, you are the muse, you are the maestro to the orchestra. You are making sure that you're pulling the most important information out and then using a visual dashboard like a work breakdown structure. You're outlining all the things that have to get done. You are their mirror. And as their mirror, you're making sure that everything is updated. So, what if things change? What if things change? What if the conversation that we had in the beginning that outlines all these things, what if we have said, well, in real time, not our WAG, but in real time, something's altered, right? We thought it was going to look like this, and then we figured out, well, it doesn't actually look like this. It's up to you to make sure that those changes are represented in the work breakdown structure. because once our project is completed, we're going to take a look at this document again. And not only are we going to take a look at this document, we're also going to make sure that did we go off course? Are we exactly where we should be? What adjustments need to be made? Okay. So I wanted to make sure that you all had access to the work breakdown structure, that you knew exactly how to use it. And of course, in the comments, ask me questions. You are the reason why I do this right before I head to sleep. Ask me questions. Pick my brain. Pick my brain. Now, there is a course that you have access to. It's called the Project Manager's Prism. And with the Project Manager's Prism, you are able to take classes similar to this. And you can also ask me questions live because I've created a Facebook group that we can all talk to each other. So I want to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be excellent. My focus is for you to be excellent. But as a reminder, your work breakdown structure is something that you would be able to use to outline all of the tasks that have to be done on this particular initiative. You can also use this to assign the ownership or the roles of these tasks. You can also use this to break it down by department or by task or by responsibility. And then you can put this in the project repository for your team to have access to, so that if anyone forgets exactly why we are doing this or what we said that we would do next, this document is something that we would be able to reference so that they'll be able to know exactly what has happened and they don't have to talk to you every single time. But like I said, please feel free to ask me any questions that you would like. It's been my absolute pleasure taking care of you today. And until tomorrow night, at the end of the day.